This month was more of a standard month with 127 sales. If you go back to June of 2013, we're plus or minus that figure through there. So it's in the zone of what's been happening, the numbers that have been happening over the last 6 months.
Right, and how do the sale prices break down? Is that returning more to normal?
The sales prices are returning more to normal this month. That was one of the things that we noticed most of. The sales between 300 and 400, which is a normal spike in the market, they ran at 33% of the sales in the market. So that was a good sign to see that end of the market is moving again. The 400 to 500, which again is normally a more solid part of the market, that was about 20% of sales. So yes, we're seeing a more move back to normal sales patterns.
Right. So do you think the effect of the loan to value ratio rules are wearing off?
I've noticed that a couple of the banks now are starting to loosen up on their ratio, and they are allowing some 90% mortgages now. So yes, I think that's perhaps driving the change in the market.
So that loosening, is that going to have a big impact on first home buyers?
I think that's where we'll see the effect. They were the ones that were most affected by the ratio. Just in looking at the stats, that they did fall out of the market, and if they start coming back into the market, and if the banks allow them back into the market, then I think we'll see that lower end of the market being driven a bit more.
Yep. Do you think that'll have much impact on the sales figures?
I think the numbers down low will start moving, and normally what happens when the figures down low start happening, then there's a flow-on effect that the 300s buy into the 400s, 400s buy into the 500s. So
right.
There seems to be a flow-on effect.
Is there still a shortage of listings and still buyers around?
Yeah, there's the sales are still happening, the buyers are still happening, and I think the limiter of a bit of the market is the fact that there's not the houses for them to be choosing. So again, that trend is we're still in that trend of less houses on the market.
Is that driving more people to buy sections and build?
Certainly, that and looking at the council consents, they're certainly very strong at the moment, and they're up from the year of say 2012. They're well up from that, so there's a good number of houses being built and consents being lodged.
The Reserve Bank has raised interest rates again. What impact will we see from that?
Well, it'll be interesting to see the impact of that. In its own self, normally I would say that I wouldn't be expecting a huge change in that. I think the ratio change, the loan to value ratio change, will be more of an impact on that, and the timing of that is coincidental. With the interest rate increasing and that being loosened, then there's some coincidence in that perhaps.
Some people suggesting the rises in property price that we see in Auckland and Christchurch will spread out to other areas. Is that likely, do you think, for Tauranga?
It is commented on as that when Auckland does well, then prices flow on after a while in the other areas, and Tauranga is one of those. It will be interesting where the prices have held in Tauranga, even though Auckland has been going for a while now at higher prices. Tauranga certainly hasn't responded to that. Prices are still relatively settled over the market, that they haven't taken off at all like what Auckland has. Prediction for the next 3 to 4 months is there are one or two things that are happening, like the interest rates and the ratio happening, which will cause questions to be asked about how the market is going to change. I can't see it changing hugely from where we're at. I think that we'll get the lower end being a bit stronger, which will be good. to help those younger people into their houses at that age. So that will be good, and it's just now a matter of how that all transpires. I think it's steady as she goes at the moment.
Do you expect the run-up to the election will have any impact on the real estate market?
In past years, what I've noticed with elections is that people do sit back a bit. They don't make the decisions necessarily as quickly. They want to see what's going to happen. They want to see how it's going to change, and change always causes people to sit back.
But the actual impact of the election?
The actual impact of the election, I can't see a lot changing. There's nothing that I've seen that is saying that it's going to change hugely, that's going to impact real estate in Tauranga hugely. It will be interesting to see, but I can't. There's nothing that's highlighted itself there.
Yeah.
I think that if you are thinking of selling through from now to the end of the year, I wouldn't be leaving it too close to the election, because it will have an impact on people's thinking about how and what they want to do and things. So if you are thinking that you might want to be moving and selling through that period, I would get onto it sooner than later.
Yeah.
Would be my recommendation. Take the election completely out of the picture, make your decision, make your move, and then you're in the box seat to make your move.